Hello, everyone. I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have embarked on creating a virtual exercise series for our senior residents. We partnered with our Project Independence fitness instructors to host these virtual classes, which will allow you to stay fit and healthy by participating from the safety of your home. Please enjoy.
Okay, let's gonna begin. I slowly start to move the arms and legs. I'm gonna start to just like a little walk in place. Gonna do mostly body weight exercises. I'm gonna have my mat and a chair. So very minimal equipment today. I'm just gonna start to walk and warm up my arms and legs, and gonna work on a stability. What a lot of people call core strengthening. So the core is really how well we can control the arms and legs. So if I'm walking, just to get the body moving and the joints warmed up, the breathing is picking up, the heart rate picks up, body temperature raises, and just so we're prepared. Okay, whoops, I almost did it wrong. I wanted to bring it up that when I'm walking, it's opposite arm, opposite leg. Something we always got to be working on. I'm going to slow it down as we're going to move into some other movements to get the body going. I'm just going to come into some easy squats. So I'm going to make my feet about hip width apart. I'm going to bring my hips down and up, which is one of the reasons why I have the chair. But we're going to use the chair to see about how low we reach. Right now my hips are not, I'm not going deep into this. I'm just getting ready to warm my legs and everything up. My hips. Squat is probably our best all-round exercise. Just warming up. I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going slow. I'm not holding it. I'm not going deep. I'm just going to walk in place. As I already see, my breath is starting to become a little bit more difficult or harder. I'm breathing harder now. So I'm just going to be going through all various movements of our spine. So I'm going to come into lunges next. So I'm going to step forward. You can step back if this is more too challenging. I'm going to take my arms around and up as I bend my knee, and I'm going to come up. So I'm going switching. I'm alternating, going one leg then the other. If you find this a little challenge to the balance, you can use the chair and hold the chair and just do one side at a time. As I'm moving into a little bit more of a challenging of the lunges. There's a whole bunch of ways of doing lunges. Just a little bit more challenging. So stepping forward is supposed to be a little more challenging than stepping backward. But as you begin to be doing these more often, you're going to find it, you may want more of a challenge. I'm going to come into another exercise, which is just kind of going side to side, the half jumping jacks. So I'm just starting again easy. I'm not going to want to put a lot of load on the joints to start off with by jumping. Plyometric, it's leaving the ground, which funny thing is that right, when you jump up, you have to come down. Funny how that works. But it's that sudden landing that creates a little bit of a jarring to the joints. You know, people that run and do other sports, yeah, they're going to do that. They get used to that. Your body will get used to that impact. I'm just going to come back to walking in place, just slowly moving the body. I spend about 5 minutes to warm up. Some people, may need more. So we're going to spend 10 minutes. That should cover just about everybody. So I'm just walking in place. And we're going to come to another type of lunge. So I'm going to step forward with my one leg. Instead of taking my arm up, I'm going to take my arm across and come back, rotating from the ribs, the waist. I'm going to come a little bit faster with this. So I turn my waist, my ribs, then my shoulder turns. Rotation of our body. Mostly the spine. You can go faster if you want. If you're feeling this is starting to get challenging, you can go slower. Anytime you're welcome to stop if you feel like, oh, I just can't breathe anymore. If you want to keep the breath, you don't ever want to hold the breath. Opposite arm, opposite leg, just like when I was walking. So one more time on each side, and I'll come back to walking in place. Just going through all types of movements for the body. So I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to go one way. I'm going to go side to side. So I'm going to step to the side. I'm going to bend my knees almost like a squat and then come out. Then go to the other side. In fact, you could even take your arms up too, if you really want to just add a little bit more juice to this. Then faster or slower, it's up to you. All the joints warmed up and back to walking. So we should be almost there. As we will be doing some light supporting our body weight with our arms. That's something it takes a little bit to get used to. Many people may not be used to bearing weight in their hands. So we'll go slow, but we will need to warm up the shoulders a little bit. So I'm just going to gently walk in place. So I'm going to start to make some basic movements with my arms, just circling the arms around. Think about the arms. They have so many ways of moving and how the arms can be done. How many different movements? Because it's not just the arms, it's also the shoulder, the upper back. The arms are considered the shoulders. So I'm just going to roll my arms around. All kinds of movements in the shoulders because the upper back is part of the movements of the arms, your shoulder blades. So we're going to do a little bit for that. So I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to take my arms up. I'm going to bring my shoulder blades together and spread them about across the back. It's like think of it as a train shooting down. Like it's not the elbows bending, my arms stay straight. It's the shoulder blades. So important for the shoulder blades to air, such an important area of our body. So we'll do some more. We're going to take our arms. I'm going to simply rotate my arms. Even here the shoulder blades do move a little bit. The next ones are going to be much more of the shoulder blade, this upper back. I'm lifting my ears up and down. Move my shoulders up to my ears and lowering down. It's not really a place that we want to remain, but there are times we do need to lift our shoulders up. We want to keep our shoulders down for the most part. Again, I'm going to bring my shoulder blades together and then spread them out. Then I'm going to put all this together. I'm going to roll my arms, lift my shoulders, and then rolling the other way. Just keep moving this. There are so many ways we can move the arms. It's such a very interesting place. So we're going to come back. We're just going to do a little bit more walking. Then we're going to do another movement for the arms. Again, this is going to be about how we control our movements. So the next one is another movement for our arms. We'll get into the shoulders as you take your arm around and then the other arm around. It's not really like swimming, but you may think of that like you're just circling your arms around. And I'm going to circle and come around the opposite way. A little bit more similar to a backstroke in swimming. It's not exact, but get that part of our body on, and then we'll just start to walk as we're going to move into the our physical, this practice of strengthening our midsection. So we're going to start with the biggest one. I'm going to use my chair because I'm going to use my chair as a guide to see how far I bring my hips down. So the basic rule is with the squat, you don't want to bring your hips below the knees. So for me to sit in the chair would be a little bit of a reach, a little bit further than what I should go. Again, I'm going to start so you can see. I don't quite touch the chair. I can, but I'm not going to quite. So I'm going to bring my hips back. So if you start to feel like you're going to fall back, that's about right where you want to go. See, I almost did. As I bring my hips back, the weight comes into my heels. My toes lift up. That's why I'm taking my arms up. Kind of counterbalances all that weight going back. Otherwise, I'll fall back. So if you're not sure, if you're feeling a little unbalanced, yeah, it's good to have a chair there. You look at a lot of the classes that do core strengthening. This is not considered by many people their prime exercise, but really it is, because this is working all the muscles from my lower legs all the way up into my shoulders. See, I almost touched. I said I could touch, but you see now my hips are starting to come a little bit past parallel. I'm going to do two more. Okay, now I'm going to come back to walking in place. We're going to keep the chair handy because we will use it a little bit more. Just coming back, just keeping my arms and legs and everything warmed up. We will be coming to the mats with our mat soon. You can use a towel or anything, but we are going to go into slowly going into maybe one of the more difficult parts of this class. We're going to go to the plank pose. So the rule with plank is the lower you bring your hands down, like on the floor, the harder it's going to get. It's like putting more weight on the body. So I'm going to start with the chair. So I'm going to put my hands on the chair. I just step back. I'm in this plank pose. We have to watch with plank. There's a lot of people, we start to get tired. The hips are going to want to start to drop down. Some people like to lift their hips up and bring them back. Your shoulders should stay over your hands. If your shoulders come behind the hands, the chair may start to slide away from you. Got to push straight down. Again, the shoulder blades, remember we did that before? They're spreading across the back. And when you get tired, instead of collapsing down, just step forward and come up. Okay. So keeping everything warm again before we go to we're going to do a lot of variations of plank. We'll start off using the chair. And if you feel like it's too easy, we're going to do some on the floor. If you find that too difficult, just stay with the chair. And when you're ready, when you get stronger, you'll be able to use the floor, excuse me. So the next one is probably better for people if your hands are starting to hurt from doing this. It's called the forearm plank. So I'm going to use a part of this, my back of my hands. So I'm going to bring my hands down on the chair and I step back. It's not a push-up. We're just holding this place, which is really this core strength and the stability. When we hold a position, the body is working to stabilize. When we're doing all these movements, the body is doing a dynamic. It's just a different feel to it. And the body and the muscles act differently. I'm going to come out by just, again, this time I'm using my other leg to come forward, and I come all the way up. Okay, just coming back and doing some walking and gentle movements. Keeping the body warm. Starting to get my body is really starting to warm up. We're going to go back into the squats again. I'm going to explain it differently, a little different. We're going to we're not like really adding on. It makes it just make another level, making it a little bit more, not really more difficulty. I'm going to use my abdominal muscles more. So I'm going to draw my belly into the spine, drawing everything into the center and let go. So that's how I'm going to do it as I bring it in. When you're doing squats with weights, that's advisable. Either that or you need to wear a weight belt when you start to bear weight doing these. So I'm going to turn to the side, and again, I'm going to come down. I'm going to do a couple, and then I'm going to just add a little movement to this. I'm going to sit the hips down, take my arms up and down. Moving slowly. I'm moving my hips back and down. As back is first. I move them back, because otherwise you push your knees forward, and it's going to challenge the knees. I'm going to come near, and I'm going to bring my hand to the outside of the leg. A twisting squat. Twists are great for core strength too. I come up, and I'm going to come to the second side. And coming up, and I'm I'm coming to walk. So move the chair out of the way. Unless you need, because we're going to do a little balance. If you need the chair for balance, fine, keep it there for a little longer. But I'm going to take my leg up and just balance here. You can bring the hands to the hips. You can hold the leg. If you hold the leg, you may even be able to straighten the leg. And different options of progressing to make this a little more difficult. I'm going to switch and go to the other side. Again, you can straighten the leg and, well, yeah, see, much more of a challenge to the balance when you start to move around. Again, you can hold on. And you notice the instability. Notice how you may tend to fall to one side or the other. That just shows that the legs are not really balanced well, that you may have stronger muscles on the inner thighs than the outer thighs. And just doing this regularly will make your legs more balanced. So we'll move to the ground to make, and it will make these things a little more difficult, but closer to the ground also I like, because I don't like anyone to slip and fall out of the chair. Just put my mat down. I'm going to come back into the push-up again. The plank, that's not really a push-up. Well, again, my hands are right under the shoulders. You don't have to worry about the chair falling away if you're a little too high, but you will start to lose the intensity. You start to bring the hips back. It takes the weight out of the hands and makes it easier. When you drop your hips down, you're taking the weight into the legs more, trying to hold this. And then when you do get tired, you can go back into that downward dog pose. And coming into the plank, you can decide to do push-ups from here. But I'm going to move into the side angle, the side plank pose on my hand. So you can step the leg here, come forward. It makes it easier. Another option is to lower the back knee down, also making it easier. And then you can eventually work to here, and then eventually stacking the feet on top of each other. I'm going to switch to the other side. Again, you can't maybe see the shoulder blades with my shirt on, but they are active. That's why we did some exercises for the shoulder blades. All these weight-bearing poses, we think of our hands and arms, but the core of our body works very hard. I'm going to come into another position that you may feel comfortable at this point. And it's a good place if this is comfortable to come to rest. Otherwise, you can go into that dog pose. You can even sit back in the chair if it's too much. But if that's too easy and you want something, you can continue to walk in place. I'm going to come back again, this time forearm planks. I'm just going to bring my forearms down, curl my toes in. I'm here, I'm back in this pose. This is a great all-round exercise. Works so many muscles, which is what we want. The body, you want your body to be able to control its limbs. That's really core strength. When after a time, you will start to shake, so you can just lower down. Take a little pause. So you feel, this feels really, for me, I love this because it stretches the front of my spine, right from my navel all the way up through my ribs. But again, I'm going to do side plank on the forearm. So I'm taking my hand here, so I feel a little more stable. I won't fall side to side as easy. I'll bring the leg, the opposite leg up. Here I am. You can stay here. Bring your hand up to the ceiling. The option I like is to put the hand on the back of the head, and I just add a little bit of a twist to this. Coming back into the resting pose just for a moment, getting myself ready for that one more side plank. So here I'm rested. Here I take the foot forward, I'm here. Again, you can stay here, or if you want maybe more challenge, using this little twist in here. And coming back to the child's pose. And coming up, I'm going to be on hands and knees. I'm going to do what I love, is for the hips and back. So I'll show on my left side first. I'm just going to take my left leg up. Try to keep the knee bent. Don't try not to let the leg straighten. When you bend the knee, you're going to strengthen the muscle in the back of the leg. I slowly lower down and then come back up. Move slowly. I'm going to do about 8 of these. They call donkey kicks. Okay, we're going to do 2 more, but we're not going to switch legs. Staying on the same leg, I'm going to take the leg out to the side and down. Again, 8 times. So that's 3, 4, 5, 3 more, 2 more, and last one. One more. Now I'm going to switch to the other side. Again, I'm lifting the leg up like I'm trying to touch the bottom of my foot to the ceiling and lower down. 2, 3, 4. 4 more to go. 3, 2. Last one of this, donkeys, and then I'll take it out to the side. 1, 2, 3, 5 more, 4, 3, 2. Last one of these. I'm going to do another one that's a little bit different, but I'm going to do 8. You're welcome to do more if you feel like this is too easy. But this is great to strengthen the muscles in the lower back. I'm going to take the leg out just like I took it to the side, but I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to touch my knee to the outside of the opposite knee and coming back up and around. That's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 more. Almost there, hang in there with this. Going into the last one on this side. And second side. Just about touch the outside of my knee. 2, 3, 4, last 4, 3 more. 2. And last one of these. Okay, almost there. We're going to come into a little bit of a child's pose again. It's a great way to stretch those the muscles that we're just working so hard. As you're gonna move into some stretching. I'm gonna keep the intensity up for a little bit longer. I'm gonna turn around, put my feet about hip width apart. My hands are behind me. I'm gonna shoot my hips up. These are called thrusters. So you wanna think of accelerating, moving the hips up but slowly lowering down. It's an acceleration of the movement, this engaging the muscles in the back of the leg. Think of squeezing the muscles in your butt as you come up. Let's do 3 more. 2 and 1. Whew. Okay, so that might be a whole lot for some people. I like it because it starts to stretch the shoulders. Because we're going to be moving into the stretching. So the next one will be do a very similar, but it's going to be going to start in a bridge pose. So I'm going to do what I like to call a marching bridge. I'm going to lift my hips. I'll keep my hips lifted. And I'm going to just like march with my legs. I take my right leg in, then the left. The hips want to drop as you do this. You have to keep thinking of lifting the hips up. Let's do 3 more. If you find like this is hurting your lower back, just lower down. Just maybe do the regular bridge. Okay, last one of these. Oh, okay. Don't try to avoid bringing your knees into your chest unless you're done. I want to show one more. We're not going to do as many. I find these a little bit more difficult. You may want to do less of them. I'm lifting my hips up. I'm going to take my right knee into the chest again, but I'm going to keep the knee in and just lower the hips down and come up. If you find it harder, you're feeling your back is starting to hurt, then stop. And lower down and whew, yeah. You should feel a lot of intensity, a little bit of burning in the lower back. That's okay. If you feel like your lower back is crunching, then stop. Again, I'm going to do the same thing with the other leg. I take my left leg, I just touch down and come back up. I'm going to do 4 more. 3, 2, 1. But if you're new to this, I would stay with a little less. I'm going to make my feet a little wider as I'm going to start to stretch my back and hip. I'm just dropping my legs side to side. And I'm going to stretch the back a little bit more by bringing my knees up. It's working a lot of the muscles in the lower back. That's what a lot of fitness gurus and people that do core strength all the time, they only think about the front of the body, the little bit, a few inches around their navel. That's all they can think of. But core strengthening is so much more important, and it's so good because it makes how we move so much better. We move more efficiently, safer. So I'm going to start by just taking my right knee into the chest, coming in a little bit more into a rounding than I was before. Now we would just stretching the front and working our back body. People always ask me, oh, should I lift my bottom, the straight leg up? No, keep it down. You want to more about stretching than core work. At this point of the practice, with only a few minutes left, we're going to switch. My straight leg wants to stabilize me so I can bring my opposite leg in a little bit more. Getting a deeper stretch into the lower back. And taking both knees in. Again, I'm coming in a little bit deeper this time. Bringing a little more of a round to my spine. I'm going to come into the twist. I'm going to drop the knees to the side. And I turn and I bring my opposite shoulder to the floor. Oh, it feels so good on the lower back. Get a little stretch in of course, the front of the shoulders too. And I'm going to come to the other side. So I see I'm bringing my opposite shoulder towards the ground. It doesn't quite touch down. I'm using my hand to draw my knees closer together. So this knee wants to come up, but drawing it down will intensify this. Now, coming up, we're going to do one more stretch, and then we'll get up and do some more for other parts of the body. I'm crossing my right ankle over my left knee, and I just draw the knee in towards the chest. You may feel a lot of intensity in the opposite leg. You may notice more is going to be on one side than the other. That's just it'll just tell you, oh, one side maybe needs a little bit more stretching. The opposite side may need a little bit more strengthening. That's what's good about this. It teaches us what's going on with our bodies and where we need a little bit more attention and what kind of attention. So I'm going to switch. So I do about the same on each side. I'm going to do about the same on each side. But you may feel like this is more difficult on one side than the other, so that's really probably where you need to work more. And I'm going to bring my feet down. I'm going to come up. I'm going to come up very slowly, which is how you really should do. I'm going to take my arm alongside my ear so my head doesn't drop, and I'm going to push myself up into table. I'm going to come up through down dog, and I'm going to just walk my hands. We're done with the mat, so I'm standing behind it. We're just going to do a little stretching for the front of the shoulders, a little bit more. I take my hands, interlock my fingers behind the back. I lift my chest, stretching the shoulders. I'm going to make my feet a little bit wider. If this is too hard on, if you start to get lightheaded, then don't go down so far. So I'm going to bring my head down as I start to increase the stretch into the back of the legs. If you get lightheaded, keep your head up higher, above your heart. Coming up, and I'm just going to stretch the inner thighs a little bit. Just a little stretch for the back of the arm into the shoulder area. And I'm doing the other side, stretching the back of the arm. Let's release, and just going to roll the arms around and do whatever stretches you feel is right, and I will see you here next time. Bye-bye.